everybody, to another Some Kind of Monkeys podcast. This is us getting together after the Midwest Gaming Classic to tell you how we enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been weekend. Has it been just a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was last weekend. We just had Easter, so yeah, just a little over a week.
10 days ago?
Yeah. So let's see, Saturday, all four of us were there.
Yes.
And then Sunday it was just Dan and I.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Dude, it was a blast.
Yeah, I really loved it.
I think, we can all agree on that.
Next year I have to go for both days because
there
was too much to play. Like, I didn't expect to be like, I want to play that, and I want to play that, and I want to play that. And the pinball hall I could have spent all day.
What was really good is we got there early on Sunday, and we got to just walk around before it was like open, because we already got our bracelets early too, and they were like, since it's family day, they were just letting people go through the vendors and stuff to play stuff until it opened at 10, because we got there like 8:30, 8:45.
I don't even remember. The whole weekend was just like one long day.
It was long.
And then I told Jamie about it when I got home on Saturday, and then she was like, "Really? You can play all this pinball for free?"
She's gonna come next year
for $15. Well, she came on Sunday.
Oh, did she?
She. Whenever she got ready or whatever, she showed up. It was like maybe noon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Dan went and grabbed something to eat. And then we went and grabbed something to eat, and then Jamie just went to the pinball hall for like 2 hours.
Disappeared.
I kept trying to go downstairs to get in the Call of Duty room, the networking room, and I walk downstairs and Jamie's down there and like done playing pinball. Because like that room was always full. I tried to get in there like 4 or 5 times, couldn't get in there.
And then when I went off after Jamie left, and then you were up there, I went down there and it was completely empty. So I went back up and I'm like, Dan, go down there. And he's like,
At that point, it was like, we had like an hour, not even.
One of the coolest things I thought downstairs was the guy that had the original Mech Warriors with like the full consoles when you and I were playing.
Oh no, that was Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion, I'm sorry.
Those joysticks are like $100 and some bucks. Dude, I seen one.
It was pretty badass though, because the guy was walking like Kurt and I through, and it's like full initiation sequences. Like you have to do.
You got to power up.
You got to power everything up.
Did you guys play it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, I never played it. I never got into all the mech.
We walked in and it was like 2 open things, and I was like,
He's like, why not? Want to play? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, I'll walk you through. You just like, okay, you're not moving because you need to power up your engines, your guns, and all this, and your fuel pressure. He's like, click, 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 click.
Let the clutch out slowly.
Yeah.
Where did I see it? They had one at the Planet Video. It was the thing that was attached to the back of it in Cudahy. They had one there for some reason. Someone wants to like exchange the whole concept.
Talking about the porn star, little dirty things in the back?
No, they had like at the back.
Planet Video.
Planet Video.
I was thinking Super Video. I was like, what?
Or Hollywood Video. Hollywood Video, whatever it is.
Game Crazy.
Game Crazy. Yeah, they had one there for like a month.
Planet Video's older.
Yeah, whichever one it was, I can't remember. But they put it there, and like, it was so cool. I kept wanting to buy it because I had Steel Battalions. It was for like the regular Xbox at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's so awesome. But I didn't want to sit there and play with that huge console.
Even like just the regular mech game, like Front Mission and stuff, like on Super Nintendo. Like,
I liked Mech Warrior on PC.
See, I always loved the Gundam games too, so I always played those.
Mm-hmm.
Those were really fun.
Never played those.
No? Yeah,
love the anime.
So what was your
Dynasty Warrior Gundam?
What was your guys' favorite game of the Classic?
Oh. The game that we didn't get to play was really cool. The one that was they were creating.
Oh, the in development one?
Yeah, the one that's
the fighting
first person fighter, like fighter game, and the guy was.
They did look cool.
It looked so cool, like that, like the graphics. Because when we went on their second day, they had all their storyboards out, which like were hand drawn. Ink and pen illustrations were really nice looking. I was.
I didn't see that either. I didn't go down there.
You didn't go back down there second day?
Yeah.
You remember the name of the game?
It was like
Generation.
3 words.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, it was like something of something or whatever. And I don't know. Actually, it's not a video game, but Kurt actually bought one of the favorite things I
Boss Monster.
had at the show. Boss Monster.
I didn't get to play that.
Sean and I went and played it because I just needed to sit down, really.
Yeah.
Which is why we brought chairs.
We made a friend that sat there and told us how we played it wrong the whole time.
Which is funny because we were actually playing it right.
Were we?
Yeah.
The funny thing is you got to ask Matt, because I remember I said before we went down there, you got Shrito on chairs, so you're going to be standing up all day. I'm used to standing up.
Yeah.
The next day Matt was like, it was a good idea to bring chairs, because we actually got to sit down and relax when people were slower, because it was family day, so we didn't have as much business, but there was still a lot.
Okay.
A lot more kids eating jelly beans. It was hilarious.
But yeah, it was pretty quick card game. It took us a little while to get the rules down.
Yeah, I think once we got it down, we knocked it out pretty quick.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be playing it after this.
I do like how it looks like an old Nintendo game.
Oh yeah. Well, and the expansion pack looks like the old Game Boy boxes, if you remember what those look like.
Speaking of Game Boy, did you know that yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the Game Boy?
Game Boy, yeah.
Yeah,
For all the Japanese release.
Yeah. It's still 25 years old. Game Boy's
Yeah.
25 years old today. Or yesterday.
And then I think it's the 31st of this month for the American release.
So it's
I was reading an article.
like
on it.
90% of my life.
They weren't released at the same time.
It wouldn't be 31 years old. Because that means...
No, the
30
31st of this month.
Oh.
Japan
I was
got it like 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
That's a pretty small difference in time.
I think Europe waited a year.
Well, probably because they didn't
Yeah.
have to ship it. They just opened the store and it was there.
Yeah.
My favorite game was the game that I probably got played the least amount, and that was the Initial D arcade racing cabinet.
It was awesome.
Which yeah.
So you should have came back the second day because they had that open just to play.
He was going to have it open, and then he said, "Oh, we decided to have a tournament for fun today," and then that took the rest of the day.
Just sucked. You and I missed by I missed by 0.3, you missed by like 1/10 of a second from qualifying times. It was.
Well, that I bet we could have made it if we would have raced normal, but the anime
Oh, we were drifting and fucking around. I mean, that was.
the anime is pretty much street racing and it's all drifting. So I'm like, oh, this is what I'm gonna try to do. I want to be like the cartoon. I'm gonna be like the anime. I'm gonna try drifting every single turn. And of course, it's like, oh, the car's gonna slide, and you turn right into the wall right away, and got pretty good on the second run, but
Yeah.
that was it. Then like, oh, you didn't make it, and the rest of the day was the tournament.
See, we both cut like 2 seconds off of our initial run to our second run because it was. My first one was like nowhere near, and then I got my second one. It's like, damn, Curly beat me by 0.2. I'll take it.
I like that game the most.
Yeah,
I could have
but-
bought it for $9,999.
Yeah, I like the smaller cabinets. They had better ones for like $1,000, $700. They had like multiple games in one cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, down that hallway with some of the other vendors where it's like the kind of bar top game where it's like 70 games or whatever.
Yeah, I was totally impressed, and it wasn't even a playable. The guys that were redoing the KISS pinball machine with the 3D printer, I thought that was just craziness. That I'm talking with the guy. Kurt and I stopped when we were going through, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we needed these pieces, so we just printed off some brackets and sent them out to a metal shop. So they just fabricate everything for us now. We send them the plastic."
Yeah.
And then they, send us back. And it's just how far the technology's coming. 'Cause it used to be for games like that, you had to like scrounge, find like an old broke-ass machine to take, the Gene Simmons head out of that you need for yours. And now it's like, oh, I'm just going to print this up. And
It's 3D printing
it was just
gonna change
amazing.
so much. It's kind of disgusting.
And you guys all got to play Machine Bride of Pinbot, which I was,
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
one of my
And,
top 3
was-
machines of
it was
all
The
time.
Mars
fun.
Attack one was really good.
Mars Attack
Yeah,
was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I did like though there was that one company they were making specialized pinball machines. They had Creature from the Black Lagoon, and they built their own 3D Creature from the Black Lagoon coming out of the top of it. They had Lord of the Rings, which had
I think I
Stinger.
ever played those ones.
Stinger was on the top. They were using some of the smaller ones, like Lord of the Rings, Wizard of Oz, which had something on top of it, and another one for one of their tournaments.
Okay.
But they had the Creature from the Black Lagoon in the main entrance when you first walked in, and you could see like the big creature hanging off the
Yeah,
top of
yeah.
it. They hand built those and put those on the top. They're just extra pieces they put on,
Nice.
which are really cool.
I wanted to play the Predator machine, but it was like the 2 times we went by, the line was like 5 or 6 people long. And it was like, I'm not standing around for an hour to play a game of pinball. But
Yeah, and there were those 2 along the wall. It was like some zombie related pinball games. They were on the wall
on
kind
the
of.
right hand side when you came in,
Yeah.
that's where the Predator was too. That was when I had the skull with the.
Yeah, but those 2 like zombie ones are like brand new things that just a bunch of guys made up, I guess.
Nice.
I did like the one too when you first walked on the quarter before you get into the pinball area. They had Hank Jr. machine right there, which is the Wreck-It Ralph machine. Like they built their
Oh,
Wreck-It-
Fix It Felix.
or
they
Fix It
had.
Felix, yeah.
Yeah.
They like built the game just for Fix It Felix. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was talking to the guy at the gym on Monday, and he went to a gaming convention out on the East Coast, and he said that they had a tournament there with the Fix It Felix game there as well. So,
I think next year, tournament play would be, if we can break off here and there to go play tournaments and, actually
Or if
see
we
how
could try
do
to make
some
our
stuff.
just a smaller own tournament, like a
Yeah.
fighting tournament, because we were the only people there that had Soul Calibur.
I was
All the
actually
fighting
shocked
games.
by that.
Yeah.
And especially...
No, Soul Calibur 5 was there because Kurt and I played it. It was on.
Well, Soul Calibur 5 sucks compared to Soul Calibur 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was there.
But they had all those fighting games, and they had like multiple, like every one, Mortal
Like,
Kombat.
where they had, like, every possible iteration of Street Fighter 2. And
yes.
In a row.
Yeah, like right next to each other on
Street
every...
Fighter 2 Super Rainbow. I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell is that?
Killer
Kurt and I stopped
Instinct
and
on
played
your
it because it was
screen.
like Super Rainbow.
I didn't
That-
see any difference.
No, I didn't either.
That was funny. Killer Instinct when
On the big screen
like
with the joysticks?
The little
kid,
like 7-year-old kid that destroyed me was like, "Hey, you want to play? Sure. All right, I'm gonna fuck you up." What'd you just say to me?
That kid, I don't think he left that.
No.
You
Screen
did
all
miss
day.
when Kiefer was playing a little kid by our booth, and the kid was like,
This was
"You
so-
got beat by a child." And laughing. Well, it was hilarious. Then he kept coming back to play math.
Yeah, it's funny because like his friend had no interest really. His friend was like, "Come on, let's go," and the kid's like, "Let me play one," and I was like, "Okay, that'd be nice. Let this kid beat me, right?" And then he
Oh, dude, there's no mercy,
And then-
man.
No, and the thing, it's
No, it
so
was
funny
okay
because,
at that
so I was like, oh, you know, I think he like ring out at me or something.
Yeah.
It sucked. And then I was like, all right, Dan, your turn.
So I let him beat me the first round, and then the kid starts like laughing. He's like, "You two girls got beat." So I'm like, "Screw this! I just destroyed him." And then he's like leaving all disappointed, and he looks at me and goes, "At least you got beat by a child." And walks away.
And then like 3 hours later, they walked back, and one of the guys who I think was there was Star Worlds. That guy that was
the
over there
big
talking, and he would always come past and he'd play a couple rounds, chat with us and
Yeah, he
stuff.
was fun.
Cool guy. Then the kid comes back and he's like, "I know what you're thinking." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "You want a rematch?" And I was like, "I wasn't thinking that at all, but you're wrong." I just like beat the shit out of this kid. And then his friend, who, you know, who was like just sitting in the back, like, "I don't care." He's like, "I told you were gonna regret this."
Oh, the kid was like planning to come back. So I'm gonna go back and whoop that guy's ass again.
And then his friend was like, "All right, if I beat you once, we'll play one match. We get to go home." His friend beat the crap out of him. We were just sitting there laughing.
So did Deadpool come back on Sunday as well?
Yeah, Deadpool was there
He
both
was there.
sessions. He also said he won the costume competition, which was cool. The
For the
costume.
male.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they had different
If you were on
categories.
Facebook,
Yeah.
you'd see that he placed first.
I already talked to him before the show ended, so I figured that before they probably posted it.
But you did get an opportunity to interview him.
Mm-hmm. Put that up online. Pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
whole
online
minute.
now?
It's a whole minute long. It's
see
like the
that
greatest
posted.
50-some seconds ever. It's funny.
Yeah, it would have been, and next year too, I think
We need to get a couple like
it
that.
would be cool to get a bunch of interviews, especially, I think what was great about Deadpool is he kept in character
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole time, because if it was just like, if you were dressed up as Deadpool and you were like, "Oh yeah, so I just played Initial D," we'd be like, "Okay, it's fucking Kurt, who cares?"
Yeah.
You know?
What initial D stab
Or like-
the guy next to me?
Well, because no, we seen like some other kids down there that were dressed up like Nathan Drake, stuff like that, and like they were just themselves dressed up like that. And I was like, this guy's been cool, so let's ask him questions. And then
The Minecraft
the
guy was
Minecraft
cool.
guy was cool. Steve, we seen him, and he pulled
Yeah.
out his like diamond sword out of his back. And he was just like, so we had to take a picture of him, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a problem. I put a bunch of the pictures on my website, but there was a, like, for some reason it wouldn't caption it or whatever. They fixed it. I didn't go back and caption it. But yeah, that was cool because
Yeah.
we were like, "Let's take a picture," and he's like, "Hold on."
Yeah.
Pulls out his pixelated,
Yeah.
sword. It was awesome.
Yeah, we got a lot of good feedback. A lot of good people were there. We seen the one company was there that was making the new Dreamcast game. We got to talk to them. That was pretty cool and see
The-
their website.
Was it the kids from MGC?
No, the African guy wearing like the bluish color shirt. He was there a
Oh.
bunch of times. He came by
Yeah.
and played a
I
bunch.
forget the
He
name.
came by first when
Yeah, when
you
you
two
and I
were gone.
Yeah, and then we
Oh,
looked
man,
up
I
the
re-
game, and I looked up the game. The game's been in I guess in development since like 2008 or something like that, and they finally took it over and they're gonna make it or something weird like that. But it's coming out for Dreamcast, PC, and something else.
I did want to check out more of the indie games, but I felt really skeezy, like walking into hotel rooms, like jammed with like 30 people, like everybody's like sitting on the bed and couches, like all. And I was like,
Yeah,
it's
like
warm and smells funny, and I just can't. stand
Yeah,
it.
like where they had the Oculus Rift machines.
Yeah.
They had Angry Birds. Like that one Oculus Rift machine was playing
I don't even see
a
those.
roller coaster, and like if you turn your head and stuff, you could see it, and it was going up and down and stuff.
That's one of like the biggest tech demos I think out there for the Rift.
Yeah. Nintendo was there. They were pretty cool. They had a bunch of stuff. Pokemon a lot.
We all got
Mason
ears.
loves those ears.
Yeah, I got still more. The next day we went back though, they had little Mario gold pins and like Mario wristbands and
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. What else do we have? Oh, sticker book, something like that.
Yeah, and then I was like, started playing Bravely Default on the 3DS, and I was like, shit, I want a 3DS now, because then I'm like, then I could play Zelda, and then Jamie could get Animal Crossing. Damn
Street
Nintendo.
Pass, and everyone kept coming by and street passing.
Yeah, I ran into a bunch of people I knew from years back, and like, Nate, he had his 3DS, and he's just like, mine's not working. He's like, I got the first generation one, and
And then his girlfriend had like
Everyone-
2DS.
I don't remember. No,
She
that
had
was
the
Mike.
solid-
That was Mike. That was the
Oh.
guy I worked with at Barnes and Noble. But yeah, they're just like, man, we get people from all over the world, and then they're explaining because I don't have a 3DS, so I don't know how the Street Pass thing works. But it's like you get achievements and you unlock like more stuff for your avatar
and
on the
other things, yeah.
3DS and stuff like that.
And it opens mini games.
I never heard of that on there.
Yeah, it's something you gotta turn on too. So like it'll connect to other people. It's like through the Wi-Fi system, so it'll connect and you'll see their character come on, and then they'll give you something, or they'll like just talking to them will say, and it's like 3 seconds, so you just click the button.
So, but yeah, I think next year definitely having something a little more planned. I mean, I kind of like, and it kind of goes with the theme. It's like kind of just a sort of guerrilla setup. Like, all right, we're just gonna roll in, set the stuff up, tear down, and be gone. What else would probably be cool? Just renting a room, and then if we were like there, we could just take it in shifts and be set up all night if they let us.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be hard to pull off though.
Yeah,
Well, not, but I mean,
It wasn't
we could
too bad
collapse the
breaking it
table
down.
and shit though and just put it in the room at night too.
yeah.
How difficult would it be to carry?
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
a little bit
breaking
of
it down.
stuff we had.
No, I
Well,
was
the thing is, me and Matt were talking about we want to do more for next year if we go
like
back
3
and get that spot.
TVs.
Yeah, maybe like 3 or 4 consoles.
I'm great for whatever. I just don't want to run out through a hailstorm
Yeah.
trying to like carry
That was
television.
the worst part. And that
It was even
bad.
Yeah,
just
the
bad. It was
weather
raining
was-
the next
yeah.
day too, and we're walking out and we had nothing to cover anything. The logo was getting wet.
When Kurt and I were in line, the guy at the register was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
can you?
I straightened
Hey, can you
most
push
of it
that
out.
water off the top?" And like, I go to push it, and it just like rushed in like all over him, and I'm like, "Oh man."
I put it in a clear garbage bag and then put stuff on it so it like sucked the moisture out too, hopefully, because it was hot in there. So I got it as flat as I could. There's still a little.
Oh,
arc
did it
to
get pretty wrinkly?
It just arced. The,
Oh.
Yeah,
the
just
board
kind of
arced
bowed a
away,
little
yeah.
bit.
Okay.
It was really bad the first day, like because like the bottom of it got like wet a little bit. Because Matt tried to carry as much as he could because I was carrying Kurt's big TV.
Kurt's
But no, Kurt's-
cannonball that I almost killed him with on the way there.
Well, that was the funniest part because like we go to Matt and we're like he's bringing one with just the RF and Matt's like, oh, I brought these cables. They don't plug in.
Oh yeah, you pull them on like, are you serious? Like we talked about the TV only.
There was like 3 televisions at Kurt's that had those cables too. We took the one that didn't.
I'm like, well, Matt. I'm like, he's bringing Nintendo. It just has the RF. Perfect. Then I don't have to unplug the other one with the composite. You know.
Yeah.
So now I got an extra RF cable upstairs. I got 2 of them for one Nintendo.
For next year.
You're gonna need that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you don't have one apparently. I could just give you one.
It's probably somewhere. I don't know.
Well, that one's not an original one because my original one said a Nintendo on it. That one didn't.
Oh, didn't it?
No, I think it was just like a different version.
It's good you guys found it in like 2 minutes after Kurt and I dug through Bino cables for 45 minutes
Oh, yeah.
looking
That's because
for
we
one.
didn't, we didn't dig. We just looked
We
for
didn't
one
get.
that had
We
like
couldn't
Nintendo
go into the
stuff.
vendor tent.
We couldn't get into
Yeah,
the
because
vendor
we were
tent.
in the tent.
Yeah.
You were probably in that room in the hallway.
Yeah, the dude had like the giant amount of cables. And he's like, I don't think there's one in there. It might be. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it was a
fuck.
huge bin, probably as big as this rectangle. Sean took this side, I took this.
And just, like,
we just stacked
For
everything up.
everyone. Like,
Yeah, see, I was like, okay, that's controllers, that's
It was probably like
controllers,
this
that's
deep.
Yeah, me and
controllers.
Matt searched through like 4 tables and that we finally found one. We was like, it's got to be in this box right here because it's got all the stuff
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. No, that thing was like this deep all the way across. By the time we're done, it went to the bottom.
And it was
all
like-
piled on sides. We're like, let's pull this back down.
It was good though because we found it before really people
And-
showed up.
Yeah,
that
And it was popular.
Yeah.
Dr. Mario was popular.
There was a couple people that were there for like an hour. Like I look over and I'm like, this is
Yeah.
the same damn person.
Well, at the
playing
end
one
of the day
player.
on Sunday, there was a guy who just like put his backpack down, laid back, and just zoned out for
Just sitting on the
probably
floor
like
right
half
there?
hour, 45 minutes.
Nice.
Who was with me when the kid kept resetting the Dreamcast?
That was me.
Matt and I were out walking. I
Like the kid came back the next day and me and Matt were like, oh my god.
And he sat there and he was playing single player,
Yeah.
and he was also looking up on his phone how to do the combos while he was playing single player. And he was there
Did you tell him there's
Yeah.
a command list?
probably the whole time that the other guy was there playing Dr. Mario.
Yeah, I think they were friends.
Did you tell Matt about that other kid though?
The one that was talking to us. That was the same
pulling out
kid.
the card. But I mean, did you tell him what he did?
Oh, he pulled out the memory card. Yeah, That was the same guy who
Yeah.
put the gun to Deadpool's head, remember?
Dude, yeah, I saw that. I was like, if I was Deadpool and a Sonic, I would have punched him right in the face.
Yeah, I missed all that.
He just walked up behind him and Deadpool's like talking as I'm playing, and
Yeah,
he pulls out a
Deadpool's like-
pistol and he's like right to the back of his head, and then just
Like touching his head?
like
No, it was
like
like
this
this
far
far,
away,
yeah.
and then puts it back in his belt and just walks away, and I'm like, I
Did
would have
Deadpool notice or no?
No, I'm like, but if I would have been, I would have punched that guy. I would have turned him.
I did like the range
That would've been a good
people
photo
there.
op.
There were some like really strange people, and then there were like the bros that were there just drinking and playing games.
They were double
Yeah.
fisting. It was like noon. I'm like, this is great.
and we just beat them in games, made them eat some jelly beans.
There's a lot of people walking by. Oh, great game, and they just keep going. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sounds like you want to play. No, I can't. I don't have
Dr.
time.
Mario.
Like, you know you want to play. Fine, just one match.
Who was with me at the booth when the guy ate the skunk jelly bean? Was that you?
Yeah.
I think you guys were out walking.
It was he's like, yeah,
The dude's like, he's like, well,
either way, I'm gonna
Kurt
lose.
spun the thing. He's like, licorice or skunk? And the guy's like, I can't taste it. And his girlfriend's, I was like, let her smell your breath.
Like, you can't tell the
And
difference.
she's like,
licorice,
she's
licorice
like,
or
oh my
skunk."
god, that's skunk. You're not kissing me today at all. And then I think you were the one that was like, there's toothpaste flavored ones in there.
Yeah.
No, we had this kid come at the beginning, and it was with his mom and like
Yeah,
his
there
little
was just a
brother.
couple kids.
And they were playing against each other, and we were talking about how we were eating the bad jelly beans. His mom's like, no, now I gotta do it. And she like made them play for the jelly bean, and when he got one, she's like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's probably bar. He put his mouth, almost threw it up. It was
vomit?
so, yeah.
Well, the kid, he puts it in his mouth. He's like,
It's not too
it's
bad.
okay. And then he just was like, oh my god, and like spit it out and just fell out on the floor.
And his
It's like,
mom was
"This is
laughing all the
terrible."
time.
His
She
mom
was
was
eating them
like,
too.
Get you some water.
Out of all of those, I think the vomit flavored one is the worst though.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's got
is.
that like biley, like just
Yeah,
too
I
many
would say-
beers.
I would say the rotten egg one is a close second.
Yeah.
Salmon is not good.
The moldy
Yeah,
cheese
the
is
same.
bad too. The moldy cheese one is
Yeah.
Cheese, it just smells like wet socks. It's like,
No, the stinky sock one tastes like how stinky socks smell. That's even worse.
But yeah, it was cool too to see families there, and there was, I don't remember who was there, but we were talking to this one kid, and he was probably like 11 or 12, and he's like, yeah, I've got a Intellivision and an original Nintendo, and I'm like, dude,
Oh, yeah,
you weren't even alive.
his
That's
mom.
awesome.
Yeah, you're born like
They were
20
playing-
years after that.
Yeah.
They were playing Dr. Mario together, him and his mom, right?
Yeah.
once we were walking through some of the old school games, like Kurt and I were looking, and we were like, is that like dollars or is that like $5? Because it was like $500 for
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
Some of the
500
systems
in
were
Neo
expensive.
Geo.
yeah, for the Neo Geo games. And I was like, damn, like
It was
the
like
games range
It's
is-
funny because like yeah,
500. It's like, is that $5? And they forgot the period.
And then we looked and it was like one next to it was like $275, and it's like, holy shit.
well, back when Neo Geo was a thing, like that's how much the games were. Because it was
Yeah, but
providing the arcade experience in your
game?
house.
Why is
So
it
yeah,
just-
like Fatal Fury 2, it'd be like, okay, $300.
Just look at some of the
Shit.
systems were
Yeah.
expensive, and then people were like, there was the one vendor down there that was stretching T-shirts that he probably paid like $10 for, selling them for like $40.
That Batman zombie one he had for 80.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
all
I
he
almost
was-
bought it. I thought
I
it was a
missed
painting,
that.
and then I
Yeah.
was like,
No,
oh, I was like,
right
what's
where Sean
yours?
bought the thing, they looked
Right
like
next
he was
to
like painted, but what he was doing was stretching T-shirts on a canvas frame. So it's just a
stapling
wood
them on.
frame, just stapling them on. And it's a
Oh.
big thing now. A lot of people are doing it, but you could do it at home yourself. Go buy a shirt from like the dollar store or from like Goodwill and just stretch it. And
Well,
he
but
was
see,
doing it
yeah, and it's
himself.
also part of it's in like finding all that stuff. too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had some Sonic ones and stuff too that were cool looking, but I'm like, that'd be a cool shirt, yes, and you just cut it and put it on a frame.
Like I said, the zombie Batman one, I thought it was a painting at first, and I was like, $80 if somebody painted it? I was like, that ain't bad. And
I
then,
don't paint it.
and then I asked him, I was like, who's the artist? And he's like, it was a t-shirt. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not buying it. Like, sorry, you should have told me you painted it. You
Because
had a sale.
I haven't seen stuff like that online where it's like, oh, what to do with the old lacrosse T-shirts, and they were stretching them, so this guy just decided to do it as a business. I mean, it's a good idea, but overpriced a little bit.
You know, Matt?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Shiner?
Whatever.
Rylager?
Next year, though, maybe at least take 2 games for each system.
Yeah, that's why we were
Yeah.
thinking another system.
Or just another system, because I think we did get a good response on both of the games. So really, we could keep Soul Calibur, or maybe do Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube and
Yeah,
get
that's
something
what I was
else for Dreamcast.
Do a PS2 also.
Yeah,
Just the writers?
I got mine.
and
I
then
got all mine.
Let's say if we're
I don't have
taking
it.
GameCube, we almost have to do Super Monkey Ball. Because
yeah,
the bowling, like the
That'd
quick
be
games.
fun.
that-
yeah, but then bowling, how quick is it? It's 10 frames.
It's
People
10
are gonna get locked into doing 10 frames.
people
of
stood
bowling.
there and played Mario for an hour.
That's true.
People stood there and played Soul Calibur for longer than that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
came back and played.
Speaking of like the guy from Star Worlds, I think what we need to do eventually is
Those are all twist up too.
Oh, are they?
They're shiner.
Oh, since it's my hand.
Take a trip down to Galloping Ghost, which actually over Easter I was talking to Jamie's cousin Brian, and he was like, "You've got to go to this arcade, Galloping Ghost," and I'm like, "Yeah, they were there, and it sounds awesome."
Where's
He's
it
like, "It's just outside of Chicago,
Okay.
and it's $15 to get in, and then everything's free to
Oh,
play."
that'd be cool.
And he said that you have in and out privilege all day. So he's like, "Yeah, they have snacks and stuff in there, but right next door there's like a diner that has beer, so you can go get a little shitty, go back to the arcade."
Nice.
And they have like a separate pinball room. And
That's what we did at the Mine Shaft when they had their $1 million arcade room. Got shitty and played video games.
Got shitty and duck pin bowled is what you and I did.
Oh, we broke that duck pin bowling machine so many times because they're just like on strings.
Straight. We
And you-
just
as soon as you whip that little ball down there as hard as you can, like they all just twist up.
like everybody's like rolling it, and Dan and I are like sidearm, just.
Remind me, if we want to do bowling, we should do Kaz's mini bowl one day.
Dude, the place smells like an outhouse.
Yeah, we went there.
You smell like an outhouse.
Sometimes, but it kind of smells like that all the time.
They do duck pin bowling at a lot of bowling alleys too, though.
Is that the one where they're attached to the ceiling and they swing up? Or is
Duck
it
pin are
one-
just a smaller balls usually.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Is that one?
They're rye.
Rise and Shine, rye lager. It's not bad. So,
It's quiet.
yeah, that seems like a pretty good cue to wrap it up. Again, I think we're going to be back next year. It's
Yeah.
pretty unanimous.
Hopefully we can talk to Dan again and do another interview with him. You know, he did invite us back loosely.
Yeah.
So, you
Well,
know.
I emailed him.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Yeah, if we're in the same spot, you guys can have the same spot. Perfect."
Let's say I don't think we
Sweet fellow.
offended anybody. for the
No,
most
I
part.
think everybody there loved us. Like they kept coming back to play our games.
And they were like, people taking a lot of pictures of the
Yeah.
artwork, so I'm sure you're glad to get the
Yeah,
exposure.
I mean, even like the guy from what's it called came up and photographed that for. He said everybody had the great shirts. I showed up there from the sub shop.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or the
Jersey
kid that
Mike's.
just realized that we were in the
Oh,
shirt
yeah.
with that.
No, Jersey Mike's like I went down there to get a sub. And he's like, I love that logo. He's like, I seen other people wearing it. I'm like, yeah, I created it. And he's like, oh. Then he walked past the shop or past our booth and he's like taking pictures of it. He's like, I love this logo. Just walks away.
There was a few people that asked
Sweet.
about shirts, and
Yeah.
we should have had some shirts with
Like
us.
I have a couple extra.
Well, and I
would love
think
to
too,
bring
yeah,
some.
what we can do, and we
Like a
just heard
tournament.
prepared,
Yeah.
do like a tournament, and then like top
Swag
prize
bag.
would be a shirt or
Yeah.
something.
Because I mean, like next time, like I wanted to do, we just, like I said, we did the interview a couple weeks before. We just were trying to get everything together real quick. Is I wanted to bring like a dry erase board so we could put down people's things and maybe like their like Facebook name or something like that on there, so we could either like message them or Twitter.
What if you got a high score?
Well, that means I would get a shirt, and no one needs to care about what my Facebook is. 'Cause I already have shirts. But no, that way, you know, we can always contact them, direct message them, and then whoever had the high
How
score.
many more followers did we gain in the last week?
I'm not sure if any, but we got
It went up. It went up one.
Did it?
Yeah.
It also went up a bunch of views though, especially the Dan Lucent one went from like 70 something to 91. So
Yeah.
they were watching that one because it was Midwest Gaming Connection.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll watch this one because it's Midwest Gaming Connection also.
I don't even care. I just had
No,
fun.
I just had to ask. I had a blast.
I mean, I also
going out
got,
and just hanging out with people.
I also got random people added me to like Xbox, so like, that was cool.
But yeah, for me, it's just I haven't been to a convention in a while, and I'm pretty much locked into hanging out with you guys, hanging out at home with Jamie, and it's like
Like hanging out with
an
such a
excuse
bad
to
thing.
no, but you know what I mean, like getting
Oh.
out, meeting new people, and getting we're used to each other and how we are and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like I was like, and after that, I was like, man, what can I start collecting now? Which I don't have money for.
Oh, I mean, that was me. Like, I bought that skull, and I had, like, the guilt when I got home, and I was like, I really didn't have the money for it, but I really wanted it. And now that it's all getting sanded, the airbrush, it looks kick-ass, so.
Yeah,
Think of it as
all the stuff that they
entertainment.
really have there to collect. I was like, yeah, I just don't want to collect any of it. A lot of other stuff. I was like, yeah, I could just do some of that myself.
I played the new Risk, and, like, the first game was miserable, because we had 5 players, and it took, like, 8.5 hours.
Yeah.
Risk always does.
We've been playing the 2210 variety so often that game we could play 5 players, 3 hours, we're done. So I think we got into this one and we were like, oh, it's gonna be like the same thing, and it was like, fuck, this is like completely different rules, and everybody's still used to the old rules, so we're trying to do shit from that, and it was just a clusterfuck and a half.
Did you play it more than once?
No, we haven't yet.
Think about how we used to go. Like when I was younger, I played
Axis?
Access and Allies. Go from a game
I've
that
still
took
never
like
played that game.
that
I've
game could
played it
take
a few
like
times,
weeks
but it's
to
fun.
play, and then you
That's-
play Risk, and Risk could take hours. They're like, man, weeks.
Speaking of a game that could take weeks to play, I was talking to the Extra Life people, while we were there, and it's like October 24th or something, I want to say. And it's you raise money for charity.
24
It's
hours.
for a children's hospital, I believe.
We're gonna look into getting involved in that.
So yeah, that's it. And you don't have to do just video games.
Board games.
You can do board games
Just
too.
24 hours of gaming.
24 hours of gaming solid. And then my first thought was,
Lost Monster.
well, I was thinking we could play through every Resident Evil game.
My first thought
Never
is
played 'em.
we just play a bunch of random
Really?
stuff.
Perfect.
Never played them.
I've played.
Oh, I do.
I played the first one partially, but I have never played through them.
I've
I've
never
mostly
played
only
Nemesis.
played the first one.
I've never played Nemesis.
That's
That's
the
like the
second
only
one?
one that
Well,
I've played.
before Resident Evil 5 came out, Alex and I did that where like every weekend we would get together and go through one Resident Evil game. So,
How long
Like-
did the game take?
well, 1 was like my game, so I could get through it in like 2 hours.
Okay.
And 2 was his game, and he can get that through that one in like 2 hours. But then we did like 3 took a while because I never beat it. I think he beat it once. Code Veronica took a while because there's like
Yeah,
the 2
that's
stories. That's such a good game.
Yeah.
And then 4 we kind of went through pretty quick.
And what's the new one? Regeneration was it?
Resurrection.
Resurrection. Something like that. It's
6.
It came out after 6, right?
Oh.
There's one that came out after 6 was might be.
Well,
a
I think that was
recreation or
between
something.
5 and 6.
Was it? I know there's one like that, and it's really shorter, but that'd be a good one to play.
There was one that came out for the 3DS, and then I think they ported it to like the PS3 or something. Not like the Umbrella Chronicles or something like that.
No, there was.
Because I know they had a couple like rail shooter games too.
Yeah, there was the one too where you played through like the beginning saga, where as like Leon and Chris, and you played a couple different stories, and it was, God, who was it? Or it was for the 360 because I had it.
Yeah, they did it for 360 and PS3. It was.
Yeah, I
I
played that.
forget
one.
what it was,
That was
but
right
it was
before
kind of
6
like
came
all
out.
sort of like short chapters,
Yeah.
kind of piecing everything together.
Yeah,
wanna
I
say.
played that right before
At
6 came out.
the Classic, that was one of the Nintendo accessories I had never seen before. Was the shoulder-mounted gun.
Oh, the Super Scope.
The Super
What?
Scope. I had
Oh,
never
I
seen.
forgot.
I-
Super
Super
Nintendo?
No, for regular Nintendo.
No, that was Super Nintendo.
No, it was
Super
Super
Scope
Nintendo.
is Super Nintendo.
Okay, I had never seen that before. I didn't have a
Yeah.
Super Nintendo though either, so
Oh man, so you missed out on one of the greatest systems of all time.
Yeah.
that'll happen.
I
Zombies
never
Ate My
had that
Neighbors.
either.
I was so glad to see that there because I love
Well,
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
yeah, like if I would have still had all my Super Nintendo games, oh my god, because I had like Earthbound that came in the original box with the
Yeah.
strategy guide, and like people are buying that for well until it came out on Virtual Console now. Yeah, you know, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore. Oh my god.
Secret of Mana's a good game.
Yeah, I just remember playing like Donkey Kong and all them Donkey Kong Country and stuff came out on those. I love those games.
Yeah.
Because my mom had bought my stepdad one back then, and I went over there and played that thing all the time. We played Zombies Ate My Neighbors together and just destroyed that game.
Yeah.
That was
Well, that's on Virtual Console too,
Is that-
so I got that.
Yeah, I don't have the
Mario
Wii U.
RPG.
See, and I never really got into Super Mario RPG. I was like, man, this is such a great concept.
That's a Square game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything that came out on Super Nintendo, I loved it. But-
Yeah, I always liked the All Stars too with that. Super Mario All Stars. You could play through like Super Mario 3 back then too. You could
I had
do,
that
like
for the
all
Wii.
the whistles. I have it for the still Nintendo upstairs, but I had Super Mario 1 and 2 for the Wii on my Virtual Console, whatever you want to call it.
I never bought any virtual ones.
Oh, and I got 64 on there too, because that's the greatest game ever.
I still have that.
That's the greatest game ever. I got it on my Virtual Console.
Greatest game
I
ever
s-
was playing Magic Darts and Band Scion on the way up to the cabin.
That was deadly.
All three of us
And then the
played.
greatest game on the way back was Is Sean Gonna Die from Eating This Burrito that's sitting in the car?
First we played
For 2
Jeopardy
days.
though, didn't we? We played Jeopardy up there.
Yeah, we played
Yeah.
Jeopardy. Like, Dan's driving, all three of us are playing, and we're all looking, and it's like 85 miles an hour down the freeway. Everybody's looking at the little TV. What's the question I need to ring in? That was
Uh,
a Dreamcast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, remember when we said we were going to wrap up and then we
Yeah,
just
we
went
should do
another 20 minutes?
Yeah.
So we'll have a regular podcast in a couple weeks. We just wanted to do this follow-up one to get into the, recap the classic and everything. So, unless anyone has some parting thoughts.
The only parting thought I have right now, because it's free and I don't know how long it's going to be free, if you have not played The Walking Dead Season 1, Chapter 1, it's free on Google Play right now. Go pick it up.
Yeah, really,
I
I picked it up
I
again.
have it. I haven't played
if you have not played
I
The
picked it up
Walking
again, just
Dead,
it's awesome. I mean,
Is it the same
Episodic
as you get for
series.
the
it's
360?
the same, yeah.
yeah,
Except for Android?
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to download it. And then you can buy the rest of them later, but I'm assuming since that one's free, they'll come out with free ones later again, too.
It doesn't even matter. Once Season 2 came out, I was like, alright, Season Pass, I'm done. Because I got the first 2 when they did Episode 1 and 2
Yeah.
for free on 360. Was it 360 or was it
360.
PlayStation?
No, it was 360.
Yeah, I just started playing it to see if it was the same, and it had like the beginning part where he's in the back of the cop car. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And the graphics look amazing.
And-
I'm like, yeah, really.
Really, I think it was probably one of the best games that came out last year.
One of them. Yeah. I do like the Telltale games. I'm excited to see their new ones come out, even though I wasn't a big Borderlands fan like everyone else was. I'll play the Borderland game. And the
I'm
Game
still
of
waiting
Thrones.
for the Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Oh yeah, because they're doing that.
they haven't talked about when or what system it's going to be for. So,
Yeah, but they did talk about what characters are going to be in it and stuff like that, because it's going to be an add-on.
and it's going to be based off of the TV series versus the books.
Yeah, but you're going to be a different character, like not a main character, so it'll be a side character.
Still never read the books or watched the show.
Watch the show; it's real great.
Show's great. Books are great. Where are you?
We can talk about that after.
Okay.
Yeah, no spoilers of Game of Thrones. People kill you.
All right. Well, a couple weeks from now, we'll see you. Till then, we're some kind of monkeys, and so are you.
Good game.